what is the point of this podcast and do I even want to do it anymore? What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Hood Soft Life podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina, and in this podcast, we talk about navigating the challenges that come with growing up in the hood and leaving those challenges behind for a soft life. Growing up in the hood has its own set of challenges, but what people don't tend to tell you is not only do those challenges follow you once you've made it out physically, but they tend to intensify. So, I'm bringing you along on my journey. I'm going to be honest with you about the struggles and the lessons that I'm learning to achieve a soft life. In this episode, we're going to be talking about where I've been for the last 2 weeks. What's good? What's the tea? Why haven't I been posting anything on the podcast? And am I going to continue podcasting? So, let's get started. All right, let me go ahead and give you the weekly update. Really, it's 2 weeks, but within the last 2 weeks, I've really just been focusing on my grad school application. I'm only applying to one grad school, and so I'm really taking the application process seriously. I'm putting in all my time and effort into my application because I only really have this one shot. Yes, I could have applied to more schools and all that extra stuff, but in all honesty, this was the only school that I wanted to go to. It had the program that I wanted, and I didn't want to waste any time and money applying to schools that I didn't want to go to. So I've been taking a lot of time really focusing on that grad school application. On top of that, I've been trying to figure out what do I want to do. If I get into grad school, it would require me to move to a different state because the grad school is not in Massachusetts. So I'm kind of at a point where my lease is right about to end and I don't know if I'm going to be going to grad school. So do I renew my lease and find a new roommate? Do I wait it out and pay the rent by myself? It is a lot of money and I would be putting myself in a financial deficit if I do that. Just trying to figure out all the pieces that make sense for me, especially because I am very confident in my grad school application. I am very confident in my experience. I'm very confident in just myself and my work. And so I don't want to sign a year's lease and I don't want to sign up for a roommate and then have to leave them. And if push comes to shove, I didn't get into the grad school, I'll eat that L, I'll sign another year's lease and I'll try again for next fall. But I've really just been struggling with what is the right decision for me at the end of the day and for my pockets, because let's be real, the money is not flowing yet. Something else that I've been going through within the last 2 weeks is really struggling with my relationship with God, just really trying to figure out where am I at with that. I feel like there are a lot of things that I could be doing better. There's a lot of things that I could be doing to have the relationship that I want to have, and just kind of feeling like, well, what exactly is my purpose? I feel like I have an idea, but I'm not entirely sure, and just trying to go to God to get some answers. But in all honesty, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the videos on Instagram or TikTok where it's like how you want God to answer your prayers or respond to your needs and versus how he actually does it, and it's more so just very vague and you kind of have to do a lot of listening and guessing. That's where I'm at. I'm doing a lot of listening and guessing, and it's kind of putting me in a position where I am a little worried, I am a little frustrated because I can't be just guessing about these parts of my life. I can't be guessing about whether or not I'm going to be going to grad school. I can't be guessing about whether or not I need to sign another year's lease. I can't be guessing, and so I've been really struggling with, well, what is it that you want from me? What is it that I'm supposed to do? So I've been really trying to take the time to figure out what it is that I want to do. And it is hard because I'm at a point where it's like I need to make decisions and I can't sit around and wait for you to tell me what to do because I need to make decisions. And so then I feel guilty because it's like, okay, I don't have faith in God and I don't have the patience, but it's also just like I really need to make a move. And so I'm kind of battling with, well, what is the right answer? Do I just sit and be patient and put my entire faith in God, knowing full and well that he will make sure that I'm in a good position? He's never left me down bad. Or do I just move on my own accord, move on my own plans, and risk the chance of those plans falling through because I didn't take the time to listen to God? So I've been really taking the time to just build my relationship and try to understand. And it's hard. Honestly, it's very hard. If you believe in a higher power of some kind, it is very hard to decide when do I take myself out of my own shoes and just give it up to God, give it up to whoever it is or whatever it is that you believe in. And I've really been struggling with that because I want to have a good relationship, but I also don't want to be questioning God's every move, if that makes sense. So moving on, why did I take 2 weeks off from podcasting? In all honesty, on top of the things that I was going through in terms of my personal life, applying to grad school and figuring out what the right decision is in terms of like making a decision for housing and my career, I was really trying to figure out, what do I want out of this podcast? What do I want to do with this platform? Really trying to make the vision that I had come to life, the vision that God gave me come to life, and really just enjoy what I do. It was starting to feel like I couldn't enjoy what I was doing because there was just so much riding on it. For example, with my grad school application, I am going to submit my podcast, and they will most likely listen to it and read a script of mine. And so it has me freaking out a little bit because it's just like, okay, am I doing it right? Am I doing it well? Is it going to help me get into the program that I want to get into? And so I've had a lot riding on it, and it just didn't feel like fun anymore. It didn't feel like it was something I wanted to do. I was just drained anytime I picked up the camera. I did record episodes. I really did try, but it was just like, it didn't feel like my best quality. It didn't feel like my best self. And I just felt almost kind of like forced to do it, not pushed or motivated, if you will, to do it. And I don't want to put out content that feels like, damn, she's not really feeling this episode. Like, what's good with her? Why is her energy changing? I don't want to put out episodes like that because it's not fair to the people that are listening. And that's just not who I am. I don't want to put out that type of energy on the platform. So that's one of the reasons why I took some time off of podcasting. The other big reason that I took some time off of podcasting is because I overthink, and I've shared a little bit about this on the podcast before. I spend a lot of time wondering, is this podcast helping anybody? Is this podcast beneficial? Should I continue podcasting? Is there even a point to this? What is the point? What is the purpose? Why am I doing it? Is it for me? Is it for other people? What is it for? And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, like, what is the point of this podcast, and do I even want to do it anymore? And I took a lot of time to think about it, and at first the answer was no. I kind of want to be done. I just don't understand what the purpose is and what the point is, and I would like for it to be more clear before I put out more content. But then I thought about it, and I was just like, I know what the purpose of this podcast is. I know exactly why I started it. And I started it because I wanted to talk about the challenges of growing up in the hood and how hard it is. Talk about getting out of the hood physically and mentally while I'm doing it. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that until they're well out. They've made the money that they wanted to make. They've moved into the home that they wanted to move into, and maybe they worked on their mental as much as they felt like was necessary before they could talk about their path, where I wanted to do something different and share it while I was going through it. Share the times where I'm down bad, where I'm burnt out, where I'm depressed, where I feel like I'm taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, and show people that it's possible. I am not somebody that's come from a cushy background. I'm not somebody that's come from a lot of privileges, a lot of money, or anything. And I want other people who come from similar backgrounds to mine to see that I'm doing it. There are privileges that I've gained along the way. There are things that I've gained along the way that have helped me accelerate to where I want to be faster, but that doesn't mean that can't happen for you as well if you want it to, or you can just do it your way. Everybody has a path. Everybody's path is different. Put your own little seasoning on it, put your own little flavor on it. Do it your way. And so I really just kept telling myself that, of like, yes, there are so many podcasts out there. There are so many people talking about a soft life. There's so many people telling you about self-improvement and how to do this and how to do that. And they really look like they got their shit together. They really sound like they know what they're talking about. And for me, it just felt like every time I picked up this mic and every time I turned the camera on, I just kind of felt iffy about my product, of like, I don't really feel like confident in what I'm saying. I know that what I'm saying is good. I know that what I'm saying is helping people because people are reaching out to me. But if I don't believe in my own work, if I don't feel confident in the words coming out of my mouth, do I need to be doing a podcast? And that's really where I was kind of just like, I don't know if I want to do this because I'm not at the point of where I want to be with this. I don't feel confident in my words all the time. I don't feel confident in my advice 100% of the time. And I think the biggest thing that's holding me back is because I'm still sitting right here. I'm not living lavish. I'm not living an expensive life. I'm not living my dream life. I'm still going through things mentally. I'm still going through some shit and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there are so many people that are going through shit. There's so many people that are still sitting exactly where I'm at, and they need to see more of that. They need to see more of the real. They need to be able to understand that, like, this is what it looks like. The one thing I've been learning about this platform and this journey that I'm on is that success is not linear at all. And I know, like, if y'all be on LinkedIn or whatever the case may be, you might see that little meme of like, this is what success looks like, and it looks like a bunch of lines up and down or whatever. And they're not lying. Like, there are things where I've achieved and I've excelled very quickly, and then all of a sudden I get out of that environment and now I feel like I'm taking 2 steps back. Like, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and I graduated early. Then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. During a point in time, I was homeless. I had to go through this. I had to go through that. And we'll talk about that more as I continue to make episodes. But success is not linear. And I want people to see that and see that there are some episodes where it's like, okay, she's really doing good. She's really up. She's really doing her thing. And then you see me and I might be down. My energy might look a little down, but it's like, I'm being real with y'all about what this journey is looking like, because it's not always going to be unicorns and rainbows and lollipops and all that shit. Let's be real. And I felt like, if I couldn't post it all the time, if I couldn't be positive all the time, maybe I shouldn't be posting. But I've come to the realization that I should be posting anyway. I should be posting when I'm up. I should be posting when I'm down. I will never post a video of me crying. I just find that weird. That's not me. But I'm still going to be honest about like, damn, I am really struggling with my mental. I'm really struggling with burnout. I'm really struggling with depression. I'm really struggling with anxiety. I'm really struggling with whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm going to always come out on the end of the episode and be like, this is what I'm doing to get through it. It may not work for everybody, but it's always good to see that there's somebody going through what you're going through and know that they're pushing themselves through it and you can push yourself through it too. So with all that to say, I'm not done podcasting. In fact, the Hood Soft Life podcast is officially available on all your streaming platforms. That includes Spotify and YouTube, like Spreaker if you use that, Amazon Music if you use that, iHeartRadio, and the long-awaited Apple Podcast. All you need to do is go onto the platform that's most convenient for you, type in the Hood Soft Life podcast in the search engine, and you'll be able to hear my voice or see my face on that platform. I'm not done with this podcast at all. I'm just getting started. And in fact, one of the reasons why I continue to take time off after I made this decision was because I wanted to take the time to do a little bit of rebranding, if you will. I wanted to design the podcast in a way that I had envisioned it when I decided I wanted to start. I started creating the graphics that I wanted to for the intro and the outro, for the profile picture, etc. I've been coming up with some ideas for content. I really just need to take the time to put it together. It's a lot of work to put this stuff together. I don't think y'all understand. I can write the scripts in a half an hour or less. That's not the issue. It's executing it, taking the video footage, editing it, adding the sound, putting it up. Before I had this platform that allowed me to distribute the podcast into all these different platforms now, I had to take the time to put it onto Spotify, which doesn't take that long. That was probably the easiest platform. YouTube takes forever. So I've been doing some rebranding. I'm really trying to produce the podcast that I always envisioned when I thought about this. For those of you who don't know, I've been thinking about podcasting for well over 2 years before I finally picked up the mic and turned on the camera. And so getting the podcast that I want to create is going to take some more time. It is going to take a lot more money. It's going to be a huge investment. But I want it to look that way because that's the type of content that I want to put out. I want to be able to have conversations with others. I want to be able to talk about things that people ask me to talk about, and so on and so forth. So I've really just been taking the time to create the content that I want to create and have fun with it. And something that I've been learning is that I felt like I had to create content that people wanted to watch or people wanted to listen to in order to be able to grow the podcast and in order to be able to be helpful. But something that my friends have been telling me, my coworkers, people in the audience in general have been telling me is that I don't need to create what I feel like people want to hear that's trendy, quote unquote, if you will, and put it out there. I just need to be honest. I just need to be able to create the content that I want to create and put it out there. Whoever it is for, they'll find me, I'll find them, and the community will grow either way. Really just taking the time to understand, like at this point, I'm just doing this for fun. I don't get paid. There's no quote unquote benefits of any kind, if you will, aside from just enjoyment. And so I don't have to do things that I don't want to do because at the end of the day, it's my platform. It's the content that I want to create. It's the content that I enjoy. I don't want to create content that I don't enjoy for the sake of people wanting to listen and for the sake of likes and for the sake of growth. I don't think that that's necessary. And so it's been a great realization to come to, because I was really stressing about it. It was really weighing on my mental. I would wait till the very last second to put a podcast episode out. And I didn't like that because it felt obligatory. You know what I'm trying to say? I felt obligated to post an episode. It didn't feel like I want to be creative and I want to be able to put something out that is helpful to people. But now I'm at a place where it's like, fuck it, I'm going to post whatever I enjoy posting, whatever I think is going to be helpful, whatever I feel motivated to talk about, that's going to make it a good episode. And that's a really good feeling for me. Something I talked about at the beginning of this podcast episode was feeling unsure of my purpose, feeling unsure of what God has planned for my life, and just feeling kind of confused. And I'm definitely at a point where I feel like I'm in transition, but I think so much that I don't even understand, like, what am I supposed to do? I can feel that there's this big shift coming my way for my life, and I'm begging, but I feel confident that it is for something positive. I can't take anything negative, God, please, I'm begging. But I really do feel like this shift is something positive for me, positive for my life, and I'm willing to receive that. I'm open to receiving that. But with a shift or a transition in your life comes a lot of confusion a lot of the time, at least for me. This is where I'm at. And so something I'm very confused about is my career. What do I want to do? Do I want to do something that's in alignment with like DEI work? Do I want to do something that's in alignment with like podcasting and producing for other people? Do I want to continue to work in education? No, I already know the answer, but yet for some reason that still keeps coming up in my mind. I still keep wondering, like, do I want to stay? Do I want to try again? Do I want to try to be a teacher again and see if I like it? No, I know I don't, and I need to stop convincing myself that I want to try. I know I don't like it. And that's no shade to the teachers out there. Listen, no shade to the teachers out there at all, because we need y'all. I have so much respect for y'all. I just can't do it. I'm not happy. It doesn't fulfill me. I love working with the kids. That is it. And so I feel like we live in a society where they put so much pressure on us to make a decision so young in our lives. When we go to college at 18, you have to make a decision of what you want to major in. And we're conditioned to believe that whatever we choose to major in, whatever we choose for the career path is what we have to do for the rest of our lives. And so I felt very stuck and very trapped in education because, one, it is easy to get trapped in education. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But also I made this decision right when I graduated from college to work in education because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And now I feel like I have to commit to that for the rest of my life for whatever reason, despite the fact that I hate it. I hate it. There's nothing I enjoy about education or working in the field besides working with the kids. That's all I got. That's literally all I got. And as much as I love them, that is not enough. That is not enough to keep me there. That's not enough for me to feel shackled there for the rest of my life. That's how I feel. I feel shackled every time I go to work, and somebody from my job is gonna hear this, and that's perfectly fine. Do with it what you will. I'm just being honest. I'm not talking about them on company time. So anywho, yeah, I just been feeling very confused about what I'm supposed to be doing next, and I feel like my brain is kind of tricking me to stay in education because it's what we know, it's what's familiar to us, and it's something I'm good at. As much as I hate being a teacher, I'm good at it. And so I'm just kind of at a point where it's just like, I feel like whatever decision I make next for my life, I have to remind myself that I'm not stuck anywhere I don't want to be stuck. I don't have to make a decision about where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. If I decide that I go to grad school and I get the degree and I find out 2 years down the line that I hate what I'm doing now, I can switch again. I can change as many times as I want. I can live whatever life that I want to live as long as I have the confidence in myself to do that. And that's the next thing, right? I don't have the confidence in myself to be like, okay, I can go after this job that requires X amount of years of experience and this, that, and a third because I'm so used to this. And how do I market the skills that I have in this podcast, in my career outside of this, to another person as I make a transition? How do I market it well enough so that they can see, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I can do. I know that I can be beneficial to you and your company. And it's been very difficult because I don't have the confidence in myself to apply for jobs that I want to apply for, but I feel like I'm unqualified for. And I do a weekly Bible study with my friends every Monday, and I'm filming this on a Monday, so right after this, I'm about to go hop on Bible study. But I do a weekly Bible study, And last week we had talked about going for things despite the fact that you feel unqualified, because at the end of the day, if God qualifies you for that thing, you'll be more than qualified to walk into that room, to accept that job, and so on and so forth. And I'm working on understanding that if I feel so called to do the next thing in my life, God must be telling me that I'm qualified. And if I'm wrong, I'll take that L. I'm gonna eat it. But I just feel like there's something pulling me towards something else for a reason. I'm not supposed to be here. If you feel frustrated or uncomfortable in your life so intensely and so consistently, it's probably because it's time for a shift. It's time for something new in your life, and it's the universe, God, or whatever it is that you believe in, whoever it is that you believe in. That's the way of telling you, hey, you're not in alignment with the plan that I have for you, the universe has for you, whatever. Let's start making that shift. When you start feeling unsatisfied with your current life, you also have a vision of what it is that you'd rather be doing instead. And I have a vision of what I'd rather be doing instead. And I feel uncomfortable going towards that because I don't feel qualified. I don't feel like I'm ready. I don't feel like I'm capable half of the time. And I don't feel deserving. I feel like that's something else that I want to talk about more on this podcast. It's like, I don't know about everybody. I can't speak about everybody that's from the hood. I really can't. I can't speak about every person of color. I can really only speak for myself. If the message aligns with you, it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I feel like a good portion of my life, I was conditioned to believe that I'm not deserving of things. I'm not deserving of money. I'm not deserving of a nice home. I'm not deserving of a good education, and so on and so forth. And despite the fact that I live in a nice apartment and I got a good education, I sometimes don't feel deserving of those things. And so that's something that I need to be working on. And that's something that I've been working on over the last 2 weeks lightly. I haven't been doing a lot of deep digging into it because I want to wait until my next therapy session to talk about it with my therapist and just be like, I want to dig into these things. I don't want to do it by myself because I feel like if I do, I'm going to be tapping into some emotions, into some traumas that I'm not sure I can handle on my own. And I would want my therapist to walk me through and make sure that I do it in a healthy way. Something I'm noticing is that, I don't know, and has anybody felt confused and yet confident at the same time about anything in your life? I feel like I'm confused about my purpose and I'm confused about where I'm supposed to go next, but I also feel confident to know that I'm going to be successful and I'm going to have the life that I want to have and I'm going to be at peace and all of these other things. But sometimes it almost feels like I'm like teeter-tottering on the two. It's like, I'm kind of confused as to whether or not I'll have the life that I want to have, or if I'll have the money and the success that I want to have that is defined as success for myself, or like, yeah, I know I'm about to have that. I know I'm going to have a good life and whatever the case may be. Sometimes I'm at a point where I just feel a little bit confused. I think at the core of it all, I feel like I am going to have the life that I want to have. I am going to be successful. I am going to have the money that I want to have. I am going to have the businesses that I want to have, the platform that I want to have to help people, etc. But I think where I get confused and where I start to feel less confident is when I start moving in that direction, and not necessarily because it's new, but because there are so many traumas that I'm still working on or that I haven't even addressed because I didn't realize they were there, that start flooding in. It's almost like the floodgates have opened because I'm trying to do something new, and at all angles it almost feels like I'm being attacked of like, I don't know if you think you can do that and you're gonna try it and it's gonna flop, oh this and oh that, and then I just start to get extremely overwhelmed. So I don't know, is that just me? Am I wilding? Am I bugging? Or is it other people too? Because I really just be feeling like I'm like on this seesaw of like, yeah, I know that I'm gonna have the life that I want to have, and I'm not really sure. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I think at the core of it all, like if you think about it as like that old school seesaw, in the middle that holds it together is my confidence of knowing that I'm gonna have the life that I want to have and I'm gonna be successful because I've never been a bum. I don't want to be a bum. I don't have that in me. But also the other sides are like confidence on one side, probably weighing like 100 pounds, and then confusion on the other side, weighing a good 90 pounds. So it's like confidence is kind of up. It might go a little down. I don't know if you get the visual, but that's just where I've been the last couple of weeks, what I've been thinking about, what I've been going through, what I've been trying to push myself through to understand. And it's been a lot. It's mentally exhausting. I would come home and just be tired, exhausted, drained, unhappy, all of it. And so I'm happy to say that I came home from work today on a Monday and just went straight into filming, straight into getting my ideas for content together, recording the announcement for the fact that we're on all streaming platforms now, on all your podcast platforms. Don't forget. And I'm just feeling much more light. And I don't know if that's because, listen, the sun is out. It's nice outside. I don't know if it's because I just took those 2 weeks off to just be real with myself of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And I don't know. I still don't know. I just want y'all to know that at the end of this whole rant, I still don't have an answer for you. And I probably won't have an answer for you for a while. But what I do know is that I want to go to grad school. I don't want to work in education. I love podcasting. I like producing. I like editing. And that's all I know right now. And I'm going to work with what I got and continue to figure out where I'm going next from here. All right. You know, I would be remiss if I went through an episode without referring to therapy, which I did, or shadow work, which I'm about to do. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the shadow work prompts that can help you if you're feeling like how I'm feeling. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're unsure, or you're in a season of transition, but you're feeling a little confused, I got a couple of shadow work prompts that might be helpful. And I'm going to answer 2 of them on the spot. I didn't take the time to think them out. I didn't take the time to write a response. I'm just going to be real with you. And so I have 5, I think, if I can count right. But we're just going to go ahead and read them. And at the end, I'll respond to the 2 that I want to respond to. Actually, 3. Sorry. I'll respond to the 3 that I want to respond to. So the first one is, when was the last time you felt stuck in your feelings, in your relationship, etc.? Describe the situation and what other emotions might have surfaced. Did you do anything to feel better during that time? Number 2. What insecurities are blocking your transition? Number 3. What area of your life do you need to grow in to achieve your goals? Number 4. What do I need to forgive myself? And number 5. What do I need to forgive others? All right. So the first one I'm going to answer is, what insecurities are blocking your transition? One of my insecurities that's blocking my transition, hands down, is my lack of confidence. I'm not confident in, I was going to say what I say. No, sometimes I'm very confident in what I say. Listen, but I'll get messy. Anyways, sometimes I lack confidence in how I produce this podcast, for example. It's just kind of like I'm giving people advice, but I'm not exactly where I want to be either. So should I even be giving people advice? And the long answer shortened is yes. I've done things that a lot of people in my circumstances could do, probably can't do. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or sound bougie or any of that stuff, but it's just like there are things that I've gone through that a lot of people don't have to go through. And I did it so well with grace. And there were times where I definitely could have fallen out. There were times where I definitely could have did some grimy shit. I could have really just did something different, and I chose not to go down that path. And I think that I'm in a position where I can talk about my life. I can never talk about somebody else's life. I can never give somebody advice on their life specifically, because I'm not in their shoes. But what I can do is just talk about my life and give advice based on things that I've been through in my own shoes. I think that that's the thing that's been helping me a little bit with getting more confident in that, but I do lack confidence. And sometimes I lack confidence in my appearance. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. I have an insecurity with body image. It's just something that I've always been uncomfortable with. I've been somebody who struggled with weight. I've been very skinny. I've been very big. I've been in the middle, and it has nothing to do with like significant lifestyle changes. It's just something that is out of my control. I don't really know why that is. And so sometimes it can be a little difficult to deal with, because I might look 20 pounds lighter this month, and then a couple months down the road, I'm like 45 pounds heavier. And then 2 months later, I'm back to like 20 pounds down, and nothing has changed. And I don't understand why. So that is something that I'm very uncomfortable with. And I mean, I'm sitting down, you can only see a certain portion of my body, but getting in front of the camera and seeing yourself when you're filming, like my computer is my viewfinder. That's how I can see myself when I'm editing. I'm seeing things, and I feel very meticulous about, oh, I should sit a certain way, or I should, carry myself a certain way because I want to look better, or whatever. There's always something to critique because I have these body image issues. And so that kind of holds me back too. I feel like I spend a lot more time necessary recording, not because I can't get in front of the camera and talk, or not because I don't know what I'm going to say. I know exactly what it is that I'm going to say. It's more so because I'm just uncomfortable with myself, and I'm uncomfortable with my body at times and what it may appear as on the camera. And so that is definitely one of the biggest insecurities that's holding me back. And not even just my body, my hair. I love my hair. There's nothing wrong with my hair. My curly hair is beautiful. But something about it, it's just like it never looks like how it looks in person on the camera. And that's fucking annoying. Like, listen, I don't know what it is with that, but I just let that go, whatever. I'm just showing up as myself. I'm just being my authentic self. Sometimes my hair might be looking a fucking mess. I might be looking busted, whatever. I mean, that's all I can really do. If I'm not feeling good and I'm still getting in front of this camera, hey, I'm not feeling good, but I'm still getting in front of this camera for y'all. The next one that I want to answer is, what area of your life do you need to grow in to achieve your goals? I feel like I have a couple, and the first one is my fear of success. As much as I believe that I'll be successful, I'm afraid of achieving that success because I'm worried about what that comes with. What responsibilities am I going to have aside from my own? I mean, I want to have a family someday, right? I want to be married and I want to have kids, and I know that that means that I'll have them to take care of, which is fine. That's something that I want, but it's just like, am I going to be responsible for other people I don't want to be responsible for? Because I don't want that. And I can be real about that. You know, I know everybody has heard this. More money, more problems. And I don't want to have any more problems. I have enough problems. I don't want more problems. And I don't want different problems either. I want the problems that I already know. Okay? And, you know, maybe it'll be different problems that I can handle better because I have a stable mental, I have money, I have a family, and whatever the case may be, maybe. I don't know. But something about being successful stresses me out. And not because I don't want it, but more so because what does that mean for me? What does that mean? And I don't want to change my image because I've become quote unquote successful. I'm always gonna talk with a quote unquote African American dialect. I'm always gonna talk that way. I don't want to code switch. Am I gonna be expected to code switch even more because I'm successful now? Am I gonna be expected to dress a certain way because I'm successful? Am I gonna be expected to do my hair a certain way because I'm more successful? Am I gonna be expected to not say certain things because I'm more successful? I'm always gonna talk about race. I'm always gonna talk about racism. I'm always gonna talk about my ethnicity. I'm always gonna talk about poverty. I'm always gonna talk about social justice, injustices, whatever. Am I going to be silenced now or asked not to talk about that as much because I'm more successful? Because if that's the case, I don't know if I necessarily want it. You know what I mean? So I'm just afraid of success because I haven't been there. I haven't been there in the dynamic that I want to be. You know, I've done things that are considered successful, like graduating from school, having my own apartment, having a job, etc. But the type of success, the type of level that I'm trying to be on, I've never seen nobody in my close circle that's in those shoes. And so I will be the first person to do so. And I'm scared of what that looks like. And I can be honest enough to say that I want that. I really do. And I'm scared as fuck as what that means, because what do I have to do to get there? What am I going to have to change? There are things that I'll need to change for a good reason, right? To be adaptable to that situation, to have the life that I want to have. That's cool. But I'm talking about the things that I'm going to be forced to change that I don't want to change. And will that cost me the type of life that I want to have? So that's the thing that I'm really scared about. And again, being responsible for people I don't want to be responsible for. I don't want to be responsible for. Next thing, maintaining discipline, especially when it is difficult and when I don't fucking feel like it. I am not somebody who has discipline, despite what some of y'all may believe, especially like my close friends and loved ones that listen to this podcast. I'm sure you think that I am the most disciplined person in the world. I'm not. I'm really not. I work smarter, not harder. And sometimes I work harder because I was being a dumbass. I can just be honest about it. There's no shade in that either. But I need to develop discipline to get to the type of life that I want to have with this podcast, with my body image, with my health, with my career, with the type of family that I want to have, etc. I need to be able to develop discipline and maintain it when things are difficult. And I think the last thing that I need to work on in my life to achieve my goals is gaining more knowledge, which is why I want to go to grad school. I am open to learning. I love learning if it's something that I feel like fucking learning, right? You can't force somebody to learn something they don't want to learn and enjoy. And so I want to go to school because I want to be able to gain more skills to develop a podcast and be a podcast producer in the way that is what I envisioned. I want to have the skills and I want to be able to do what I've seen in my brain. But That's possible without going to school. I'm not saying that everybody has to go to school to achieve a goal of theirs if they don't think that works for them. What I am saying though is that I'm somebody who can't just sit there and watch multiple YouTube videos until I figure it out from this person and from that person and from this source and remember this and remember that. That's too much for me. I'd rather just go to school where it's all sorted out for me, it's delivered to me in a clean way. I get everything that I need and I can just go and be successful and not worry about, well, this person said this and this person said that, so who am I supposed to be listening to? And I'm fucking frustrated because you're telling me how to use the platform one way, you're telling me how to edit the video another way, and I'm not sure which is the best way. Y'all are both confusing me. I'd rather just go to school and learn how to do it this way to start off, and now that I know how to use the platform and I feel more comfortable, and if somebody decides to teach me how to use it another way, I can do that. I'm just somebody who I need it done for me. I need the curriculum done for me. I can't just be spending all my time researching. I can do that. I've clearly done it to be able to start the podcast, and that's fine. That's not the problem. But to be able to get to where I'm trying to go, I feel like I need to go to school. And so that's something that I need to work on. It's just attain a knowledge just for this podcast, again, for how to take care of myself, how to build my finances, how to get the type of home that I want to have, all that extra stuff. All right, last one. What do I need to forgive others? This one I actually did write some stuff down for because I really needed to. I'm sure some of y'all are wondering, like, how does that even fit into clarity in regards to where I want to go in my life? It definitely fits in. Listen, get in where you fit in, okay? This is important because you may be holding on to a grudge for somebody and it affects how you move in your life. I am holding on to a grudge for some people and it affects how I show up in relationships. It affects my ability to be in a relationship because if I'm holding a grudge towards this person who doesn't even give a fuck that I'm holding this grudge, let's just be real. They don't care. They don't care that I'm upset with them. They don't care that they've hurt my feelings, whatever the case may be, but I'm harboring this animosity. And for what? For what? All it's doing is hurting me. When you harbor that animosity towards somebody, especially somebody that doesn't give a fuck about the fact that you're mad, all you're doing is hurting yourself. I can't be in a relationship right now because I'm harboring this hurt that somebody caused me, and I'm harboring this grudge, and I'm harboring this hatred. Hatred is such a strong word, but I'm harboring this hatred towards this person, and I don't trust them, and they've done things to make me not trust people, and so now I can't trust this person, and I can't trust that person, and I can't make friends, and I can't find the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with because I'm not trusting. And so I haven't been able to forgive the people that have caused me pain, and therefore all it has done is affect me. Therefore, I'm moving slower to find the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I'm moving slower to build the friendships that I want to have, even though I have great friendships and I don't even know if I need any more. But bottom line is, when you harbor ill will and ill feelings towards somebody else, it's affecting you. You're pretty much just turning the mirror on yourself and be like, haha, bitch, I'm about to come for you too. And it's hard. And you know what? If I can't laugh at my pain, what the fuck is the point? You know? So that's something I've really been trying to work on. Something that I really need to hone in on. I understand it, but I need to be able to eat, sleep, drink, and breathe. This is that forgiveness is not for the person that hurt you. It's not. Forgiveness is for yourself. Like I talked about, when you're harboring ill will and ill feelings towards somebody else, all you're doing is putting that negativity back onto yourself. When you can forgive somebody and move on and genuinely do that, you're doing yourself a favor. Let's take, for example, the fact that I can't trust people because I've been hurt before. If I learn how to forgive the person who disrespected and shattered my trust with them, if I learn to just forgive them and move on, it'll allow me to heal and be able to trust others to get to the point where I can have more friends, or I can meet the person that I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, and all that extra stuff. So that is something I'm really trying to not figure out. That's something that I'm really trying to hone in on of I'm not forgiving this person for them. Honestly, it's fuck them. It's fuck them. We're never going to be cool again. But I'm doing it because it's for me. I don't hate that person. I don't want anything bad to happen to that person, but we'll never be cool again. We don't need to be cool again. And that's perfectly fine. And I'm doing it for me because at the end of the day, I got to sleep with myself every night. I got to hold on to those feelings every day for as long as I want to hold on to them for. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting being angry with somebody all the time. I'll tell you, it's exhausting being frustrated and untrusting of so many people all the time. It's exhausting. It's tiring. It's frustrating. It's not even worth it. And something I had learned, I was on a Bible study with one of my other friends, not my weekly one, but he and I were on FaceTime and I was listening to the Bible study he attended. And I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but I think they have a pastor. The pastor was talking about the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. And it really just sat with me because I was going through something with one of my parents at this point in time when I received the message, and it really clarified like what I need to do in regards to this relationship. And forgiveness is for yourself. It's for you to be able to move on. It doesn't mean that what they did to you is right. I just have to say that. Forgiving somebody does not mean you hurt me and it's okay. We're just gonna go on about our merry way. No, it just means you hurt me. I can acknowledge the fact that you hurt me, and still I'm going to forgive you. And I'm going to put it past me because I don't want this to hold me back for God knows how long and hold me from things that I want in my life. So I'm going to forgive you and move on. And we will never talk again. We will never be an acquaintance again. We will never have to share space again. I'm done with this. And you can do that in your own right. That's perfectly okay. You can straight up say, nah, I'm good off of you, but thank you. Where reconciliation is you forgive them and you try to rebuild a bond. It'll never be the bond that you had before, but you'll rebuild a bond, you'll rebuild a relationship, and so on and so forth. But the pastor said, you cannot reconcile with somebody who is still doing the thing that has caused you harm in the first place, that has caused you to be at a point where you have to forgive them for something that they did to you. And that just sat with me so much because it's just like this person is still doing the very thing that is causing me pain and will continue to do the same thing for the rest of my life. And I can just be like, you know what? You're going to continue to cause me pain, and that's fine if I allow it. I'm not going to allow you to cause me any more pain. I'm going to forgive you and I'm going to move on. We are not going to reconcile. We are not going to be in each other's spaces. We're never going to spend time with each other. None of that stuff. Because you're still doing the thing that has caused me pain. Therefore, you don't feel sorry about it. You don't feel remorse for it. And you'll continue to do it time and time again. And nobody should put themselves in a position where the person who has caused them harm is going to continue to cause them harm. Do not go back to things that continue to break you down, that continue to make you feel bad. Do not go back to those things. Do not go back to that person because they'll most likely never change. You have to be able to stand on your 2 feet on all 10 toes and be like, I'm not doing this with you. I forgive you, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. And forgiveness does not mean that you're going to forget. Straight up. There's some shit I'm never going to forget. I'm always going to remember that shit. But I just got to be able to get to a point where I can genuinely forgive and move on. And that's something that I'm working on. Is I'm not at the point yet where I can genuinely forgive. As much as I want to let stuff go, I don't necessarily know how. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get an idea of how to do that. I don't know. Which is why I go to therapy. This is why I pay my therapist. All right, y'all. We are at the point where we've reached the affirmation for this video. And the affirmation for this video is, I fully accept all the good in this season of transition. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that 3 times. If you're able to close your eyes, close your eyes. If you want to write this down, however you want to speak this positivity onto your life, find a way to do it. So, I fully accept all the good in this season of transition. I fully accept all the good in this season of transition. I fully accept all the good in this season of transition. All right, y'all, that's all I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. The title is a little bit different, but I did give you some things to help yourself out as well, as I like to do. Let me know your thoughts about forgiveness and reconciliation. Let me know your thoughts about, are you somebody who is like confident and unconfident, confident and struggling at the same time? I feel like I can't be the only one going through that. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this episode, you can now stream it on any platform that you stream podcasts on. Again, that is Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. go ahead and follow the show there. If you like the episode, you can go ahead and follow the show, turn on the notifications so that you get notified every time I post a new episode. And if you want to share your thoughts with me, the best platform, in all honesty, is going to be Instagram, which is the HSL Pod for the Instagram platform. And I have moved the TikTok platform from the HSL Pod to my personal TikTok, which is LIZET as in Tom _21, just because it's easier to do one platform for TikTok instead of two. And so let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. See ya.